Hey Jimmy,
What's up?
we got Max and Dwayne from Crown in the house today.
That's kind of exciting.
It is very exciting. So that's fun.
Yeah.
I'm not the bubble. 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 I'm not the bubble.
Well, there we go. I don't know why I don't listen to that song more. That's some groovy stuff. So, I mean, you guys have seen the thing. I can't wait to talk to you guys about everything that's going on in the Uplift and everything that's going on in Crown generally. There's just tons to get to. But as is our tradition, let's rock and roll on some gratitudes. Who wants to go first?
I want to go.
Me.
Oh man, I am so grateful for NFTs. Like, you have no idea.
I've got a bit of an idea.
I'm so grateful for NFTs. I'll just keep it simple.
All right, I like it.
I'm grateful for the I was going to say Crown community, but I'm grateful for the NFT community. Look at what it's brought together, right? So I think our collective EOS.io communities are even greater. I'm grateful to the communities that have rallied behind NFTs.
Okay. Perfect. Jimmy, how about you?
Yeah, I'm grateful to talk to these two lads again. That's great. There's too many greats in there, but yeah, I'm grateful to meet Dwayne and Max again.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm also grateful for Sue Gentry. I met her today and we hung out a little bit, and that was kind of fun. She's a really nice person, and we had some cool little chats while touring around parts of the Uplift. So
yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Sue G. All right. Oh, hello.
So for people who might not know you guys, I think most people know about Crown at this point. But Dwayne, you're wearing the CSX shirt. Do you want to give a little rundown of like CSX and Crown and how they're connected? Maybe just
for sure. CSX was started. We were the first company in Wyoming, the first blockchain company to incorporate in Wyoming. I can't take credit that we knew Wyoming was going to be a pro-blockchain state. We incorporated CSX in 2014. So I've been in the blockchain space for a long time, and CSX kind of birthed the team that came up with the engagement and ideas around Crown. We were one of the EOS block producers at no-go launch back in June of 2018, and have been a block producer on most of the EOS.io chains, including Wax, and really here to support communities. My background is from the middle of Canada, from the plains, so a lot of agriculture background, and most of my life has been engaging cooperatives, whether it was in the organic food business or water cooperatives. So when I heard about EOS.io and that there was going to be governance, it was a perfect fit. I fell in love and going, hey, we've always needed some better tools and some better ways for collectives and cooperatives to engage. So yeah, since launch, we've been really, I guess I'll speak for myself, just been immersed in seeing what tools are available, and then the experiment's been, how do we engage communities to utilize these tools? And now it's actually kind of reverse. We realize that there's amazing tools that we can build or use, but really focusing on what can the communities accept and what can we offer them to take crypto to a new level. Crypto seems fantastic, especially in the latest runs. But I started in crypto, when there wasn't exchanges for Bitcoin, and the promise of Bitcoin was to help the unbanked, to bring sovereignty and sustainability and wealth to the masses. And I see that that's possible now through probably NFTs and governance. So instead of just adding to rich people's bags and dumping our bags on other people, I really enthusiastic and really pumped about how does crypto reach the masses to really solve big world problems. And that starts with us understanding what we need. So yeah, CSX, our symbol was born out of a water cooperative that I was part of, something called a flow form, and how water always wants to move and not go through square pipes, and kind of forms this luminescent. So when I tuned into your show the other day and saw the embodiment of the CSX logo, all watery, and without me even explaining or talking to you guys about the origins of the logo and the passion for water, and just seeing how you completely nailed that, I had shivers. I'm like, is this real? Like, what's going on? So
I say that about 9 times a day, Dwayne. So that makes a lot of sense. Is this happening right now?
Yeah, what's going on? So I had to pinch myself and just realize, just actually take a moment to be grateful and full of gratitude of, how much we've all done in these short few years. When we're deep, thick in it, we just, are impatient to think things are going very slow. But to realize the communities and the people we've helped and touched, and to see where, we're all going and creating new worlds, new equitable futures for everybody. It's super exciting. Yeah. Look at that. That's amazing. Yeah. So that's a little rundown on CSX.
I'm not sure if we had this conversation the last time we talked, actually. I maybe we did. It was a while ago, and I kind of vaguely remember it, but I don't think you went into that much detail. I like it. That's cool. I don't know if I told you or not, but yeah, I'm a permaculture designer, so maybe running a lot of this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my passion as well. That's kind of the right way of thinking about design and designing the new world, right? So yeah, I didn't realize you were passionate about that as well. So yeah, we share a lot of common interests. That's really exciting.
Yeah, and so I want to let Max go too, but sometimes I just want to say stuff. That's usually most of the time, as Corey knows. But it's interesting. I read a tweet today okay, so it was one of these tweets that somebody had just pulled randomly, and then through a hashtag EOSIO can solve this problem behind it, which are usually no goes. But this one was kind of cool, and it kind of flips back to what Max said as well. And it was talking about how NFTs on EOSIO, but let's just face it, it could be anywhere. But you may as well just use Wax at this point in time. NFTs could actually be used in the environmental and food production industry to be able to kind of have supply and demand metrics built into the NFTs, and maybe even a burn mechanism that would release payment upon buying things like this. So I just wanted to mention that. I don't know all of the details, but it was really cool, and I think that's something that both of you would kind of appreciate. So I just wanted to say that. But yeah,
you gave me the chills. I'm not sure if you can see the hair standing on end on my arm.
Let's talk. Let's talk. I've got some ideas about permaculture and NFTs too. So maybe we can do some fun promo thing. But Max, you're up. So Crown Dak, do you want to give us a quick rundown? I mean, most of us we met your sister, I guess, a couple weeks ago, and had her on the show. So most of people will know a little bit, but it's always good to give a recap for new people.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm Max Infeld. Been in crypto since the wee early days of its infancy. Come from a background in community engagement in art, printmaking, computer science, just kind of like too many things. I been following all these projects, and I truly think the cutting edge is EOS.io technologies. And so when I was kind of hesitant to go to conferences early on, I'm like, why would people want to be public about this stuff? It's still in the coming from the background of like the dark web being the main actual use case of this stuff, and seeing a lot of crazy stuff there. I'm like, why would you want to put your face on this, like, and be public and like let people know you have money? It'd be like, I don't know, like friends of a bank, like hanging out in public or something. I don't know. It felt just super weird. But I put that aside when all those fears of engaging in public when the Tulip conference happened a few years ago. And that was, I would say, like the first time I totally felt like, you know what, I need to be part of this like greater community and let people know what I know. And it just felt like home in a way. Felt like meeting a bunch of old friends, and connected with. I got to actually stay in a house with a lot of the block producers. I won this weird contest that was put on. It was awesome. So like I was literally there when it was being launched, and it was an awesome party as well. But yeah, met Dwayne, connected with him, and for about a year we were kind of brainstorming on like what to work on. We knew what we wanted to work on something, and it just turned into us building a team of a ton of awesome people. I would say probably around like there's like 15 solid people that help contribute to Crown in some way. So I don't think either of us could take credit for it entirely. Like it's a fusion of tons of different individual perspectives and ideals. And so yeah, Crown is basically came out of these conferences and lots of dinners and just bringing friends in and seeing what they want to offer their community. I think we're definitely the first DAC besides EOS DAC on EOS, and that was pretty cool to go through that process and see. In some cases we did put the cart before the horse. But it was really cool. We knew what we're getting into. We knew all the troubles that would come out of it. And it's been an awesome experiment and learning experience. And as Dwayne said, it's just like insane and incredible to see how much value we've contributed to all these communities. I mean, people have like, survived off of Crown in multiple ways. There's been like volcanoes, and people have been able to like get masks for their health, and like it's just like there's a bunch of things we could probably talk about that for like hours. It'd be a whole show of just all the cool things that have come out of Crown. But from one of the cool things from Crown is MetaDAC, and MetaDAC is an educational DAC of just teaching people about what DACs are and the potential of onboarding them. These either terrestrial communities or internet communities that don't have engagement, like tools for them, tools to support them. MetaDAC came out of a DACathon event that was hosted to give more engagement to and more equity to the participants. So yeah, that's incredible to see how this kind of like nested, fractally thing can happen with these DACs and these communities. And just awesome to be here, guys. You guys are freaking awesome. I tune in almost every time.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for that. I like doing the show with Corey because it's kind of relaxed, and we hear that a lot. People kind of do tune in, and sometimes we don't even feel like it. I mean, we have guests like you, and like sometimes I forget that we're even live because it's just interesting people talking about interesting stuff. So
Wait, we're live? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. Corey, what are you working on over there? I think I know, but yeah. what's going
Nothing.
on?
I'm just futzing around, just hanging out.
Just putting signs up. Nice. So yeah, we I guess are very close to the Uplift World launch, like going, kind of beta, public, alpha, whatever we're doing. I really like that sign. That's really cool. That beachy area with the CSX is really quite.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And I like flying over here. I sort of like really loved how that tree was just hanging out, and I was like, these trees are really cool, and like I want to put a gratitude monument over here, but I don't want it to like take anything from this cool little spot. So I dug it in a little bit, and that's what's happening right now. I'm just kind of messing around. I'm gonna probably throw about 18 million sea lanterns on there, so everyone knows it was me.
Yeah, you do like your sea lantern.
It has become like a ridiculous joke. And by the way, if you guys, obviously, I just left a little sign there. If you guys want to replace this with any, if you had plans for it, feel free to destroy it because I didn't ask anyone. I'm just kind of doing it.
So yeah, and I guess the other big news that's coming out is the Dackathon is launching again very soon. I guess this will be is this the second one or the third one? No.
This will be our third one.
This will be the third one. Okay. I was a little bit confused. I couldn't remember. So the first one was what MetaDAC came out of, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah, you bet. And it came out of a conversation. I think it was June, which is part of MetaDAC and Max. And just remember Max really saying, I really love to be participate in a conference where there's two-way engagement, where we're actually engaging the crowd. There's not a bunch of people sitting and one person just, talking at the front. And, a couple months later, there was Dackathon, and it was incredible. We had no end goal of what to build. We just said, hey, come on in, sign up, put a little bit of EOS in the pot. And, let's attempt to actually make a DAC part of this whole conference, and then we'll see what people want to build after that. So walking through a whole group of people that maybe a lot of us hadn't met before, and going through the actual procedure of seeing what our values were, what this new entity should be. And it was, 2 days, 2 long days. It wasn't really long on the technical side. It was really just pulling out, values and having everyone have a, time to speak. So to see that was actually doable, that, you can get a group of people to make, a DAC or an organization, over a couple of days and have some equity and, have some tokens out of it was incredible. And, just to further what Max was saying, the fractalization, see that a DAC can create a worker proposal for a conference that created, a DAC called MetaDAC. And now the success on creating tools, if we look at the first Dackathon, a lot of the proposals and the hackathon portion, a lot of the projects presented, a lot of them are working in live. So it's really interesting to see where that's gone. And now with NFTs, the upcoming Dackathon being centered and focused around gaming, incredible timing, the Uplift launch and then, Dackathon the week after. It's going to be amazing to see, what sort of tools and equitable solutions come out of that, especially with alien worlds and, a lot of different, governance tools going to be coming online. So super exciting to see where it's all gone.
Yeah, I like DACs a lot, especially with the ones that I'm in charge of. No, but I mean, like it's an interesting model, right? Like I would actually honestly never really participated that much in the Crown deck just because I'm busy. I like what you guys are doing; it's pretty awesome. But I have participated in a couple other decks, and you know, it's interesting to see how people change and how communities you know, evolve. But I think that the interesting thing that you guys have done is you've kind of combined that with the hackathon. You know, usually hackathons are kind of, you know, teams that come in and projects. I guess there's a hackathon happening right now on the mainnet in EOS, right? But this allows for, you know, maybe some projects that might not necessarily fit into those, you know, bigger mainstream. It gives kind of everyone a chance, which I quite like about it, right? Because especially in EOSIO right now, I kind of feel like we're more community than anything. That community can sometimes be negative, but for the most part, I mean, we sit here every day and we meet awesome people that are talking about more than just EOS, right? And that's a big part for me of why I like EOSIO. I like the ability to be able to see what other chains come from it. I know a lot of people have serious issues with this, but I think my personal opinion is you should have many chains, right? It might suck for the ICO investors in a way, but like there's no reason for, you know, a gamer to go through KYC. There's no reason for a DeFi person, you know, to have to answer a questionnaire about like what video games they like best. You know, like you have custom tailored chains for DeFi, for NFTs, which Wax is doing a brilliant job. Ultra is doing a brilliant job, right? I mean, and that's kind of the way that I see the future unfolding. So it'll be interesting really to see what kind of projects come forth, because, you know, we had Seth from Boyd on last night, and they're, you know, in the process of making a game and releasing NFTs. I think NFTs are going to become like standard practice. Like I've been saying for, you know, quite some time and quite a few times on the show, like I could one day see like after mainstream adoption, NFTs are actually the coupons that you use in the store, right? Instead of cutting something out of the newspaper and just going in there, you have it, it's gifted to you, right? It saves mail, it saves paper, which is really good, right? It's gifted to your account via email. It's sent, you know, to, you know, if you spent so much money in that store over the past year, you get a bigger discount or something like that. I mean, you scan the barcode at the shop and it automatically burns itself. So, you know, there's no double dipping. Your account is marked. You can't go to a new store around the corner and use that NFT again, because like real world practical business ideas like this for NFTs are almost more exciting than the speculative art space that we're in. Like, do you guys have any ideas on, you know, beyond just the art? Like, there's some pretty cool art, like, you know, Corey and I'm Blue doing basically the first music videos that were on the blockchain, right? What we're going to do in the uplift with NFTs and gaming, that's really cool. But is there anything else that you guys are like really excited about? Like something that you're looking forward to from the NFT gaming Dackathon maybe? You're hoping to see something? That was a weird leading question, but anyway.
Yeah, I think generally I got some ideas that I'm just super excited about. Well, with art, you know, I have a background. I got like a BFA, if that means anything to anyone. I studied art. Basically, I spent an extra year in school just getting that degree. And yeah, focused mostly on the like social engagement aspects. So not so much on like stuff, on like things you hang on the wall and like, you know, it's one dimensional in the sense that it just talks at you. You know, I was like, I thought that shit was just so boring. I'm like, it's kind of cool. You're like, oh yeah, I like that. That's cool. I could put that over my couch. But like, what is the societal value for that? You know, is it just that it's worth dollars? Is it just that you like it? I mean, there's a bunch of reasons why not to dismiss it for what it is. Does the artist have an interesting story? Well, how do you know? Does that even communicate to the viewer? So there are these problems relating to like that intrinsic property of that medium, of it just being stuff, communicating one direction. And I'm like, we have these incredible tools. I mean, like right now we're seeing like Corey play Minecraft. It's like multi-directional, multi-faceted. There's like so many things going on. So like I saw these multi-directional interactions as other tools for artists. and it allows artists to even have a larger tool set, so they can start out with an idea and not just have to go straight to painting or sculpture or printmaking or ceramics. They don't have to be like kind of pigeonholed into like one thing. I think a lot of these tools can give artists like these multi-dimensional ways to interact and engage. So that's what I look forward to with NFTs, is that where it's not just like a collectible, it's not just like a print, it's not just like, oh man, the artist did like this cool shape and this cool form. It's like they're also like, like benefiting their community through some type of like interaction. And I think it takes, it takes a little bit of education to say that, like, as an artist, you can be also like a stage director and like, take on these other roles using, society as the medium, or, and I think I hope to see more of that with the NFTs. Hope to see more, they could be coupons for some type of engagement. They could be, a crossover between artists and things in the game, and where you're crossing over these different communities. One major problem with in art, with the artists have, is resales of their artwork, right? NFTs on Ethereum, I don't think they have that. Like, there isn't like a resale fee that they're collecting every time it's sold. Like,
I think you're right. I think I saw people, I think, had one situation like that, so I think they're getting into it. But I've heard from a bunch of people that there's a lot of places that don't have it.
And yeah, so I'm looking at like what problems are being solved. I mean, I could come up with like cool ways to engage with them all day long, and I do that. I have like this note, like an actual book filled with ideas for NFTs, and I want to see things like that where it's solving problems for creators just generally, so that they make the NFT, their community loves it, and they're using it as kind of like a badge supporting their projects, and in a lot of the times, like, the art is seen as the product, but it doesn't need to be. And that's like absurd as fuck. It's like, just make the art like the residue. And if people like it, then they can get a piece of that and support the ongoing work that the artist's doing. So yeah, there's a ton of opportunity for engagement.
Can you go into that a little bit more? So you're saying like art as not being the project. Can you, like, as a fan, let's say you're making art, as a fan of yours, how do I sort of take part in this new model? Because I think that's really, really interesting, and I think it's where some of this is going. But I want to just sort of walk us all through it.
Yeah, I think the easy way to think about this is like, we have like Patreon and Kickstarter and a bunch of middlemen that are like offering some type of interface. They're like, right. All they're really doing is, here's an interface between their middleman. They're like, and that's not bad in this case. There's a middleman between the artist and then the patron or prospective patrons. There's a network of people that they can access to through this interface. So I think we'll see more, interfaces where essentially you're supporting a project that an artist is working on. It may be like they're just working on one piece, and these are like snapshots of that piece that people can buy over that period. Maybe they are, there's tools to offer, like, as an artist produced a bunch of works, if their fans buy one of each piece of one or get a fractional piece of all these works, then they can, get some additional offer some additional incentive. But I also think it takes the artists to see that they can't just produce things that are like just one directional. Like, they have to have an engagement. And if they're, if they're not doing that, then I don't know what to say. It's going to be difficult.
They're just going to lose out, right? I mean, and it's art, right? So, like, I always want to kind of leave it open. If you want to just go and like rearrange tinfoil in your backyard because it, speaks to, you know what I mean? Like, whatever your art is your art, and like, I definitely don't want to get in the way of that. But as far as like, if you want to turn it into, a business now with these NFTs and fractionalized art is something we're talking about on our team a lot, because the third question we get about the uplift, whether you're a bank going into the financial district, which is a meeting I have later today, that's weird, or a really awesome artist that want to create fractionalized art as NFTs and then create an experience in the uplift that backs it up, right? There's ways now to invest in an artist where, you know, those NFTs are you know, effectively stores of value connected to this community. And, you know, you're basically investing in the entire future of an artist by doing this, right? Like somebody who, you know, bought my Dumb Dow Sun CD 10 years ago, if it was, you know, an NFT, it would be, I think about this all the time now. Like, it would be a lot more interesting to have those floating around. And for, you know, artists that are much better than me, I think even more so, and their communities, right? Their communities end up being like, you know, first adopters and accruing sort of all the benefit from that.
Yeah, one of the awesome themes is like the crossover of you know, artists being able to put it into you know, a game, because when they're NFTs in the game and it's being, you know, there is that buy and sell pressure and that momentum. There's volume of the NFT. If it's just like a collectible, like it's not going to transfer wallets on a regular basis. It's just going to sit in someone's wallet. Right. And it's basically the last person that has it is stuck with that, you know, like it may not ever transfer, and that might be okay. Right. They might even, you know, be able to fractionalize it, like you're saying, or break it into smaller pieces, or, you know, the third party interactions is really interesting. You know, as we see with like Our Planet, that is so cool to see. It's something we predicted a long time ago. Like when just simple distributions was out, we're like, oh yeah, we'll see all these like third party interactions and these like third party smart contracts that leverage these collectibles and these other things. I mean, I anticipate seeing in the next like couple years something like a VR game where you're like throwing NFTs into a hat across the room in your VR game. And if you can make it in the hat, you get to collect all the NFTs that are like all over the floor, you know, so something like that where you're actually, you know, it blurs the lines between like gambling and gaming and like a bunch of other things. But yeah, I think we'll see that. I think we'll see lots of, you know, third-party unexpected occurrences. I mean, we see this with Crown. We're like, what? Like, how did this get on this website? Like, we didn't like authorize like putting it on this exchange or like the swapping tool. Like it just happened. You know, it's the part of that network effect that people want to tap into. So, yeah, we're going to see tons of that take off. Like, people are going to leverage the more popular artists' NFTs and do airdrops on them, as we see with, you know, like Bounty Block, that incredible tool. Like, you could pick a category of NFTs and like distribute another set of NFTs to it that are similar.
Well, I mean, we're doing that with as a function of our drop, right? Because Uplift Art has that tool, and we're doing it internally, right? So we're like for the sale that's on Saturday, we're, you know, the way we're doing packs, like because we're pre-minting everything. Apparently, pre-minting everything and doing packs is kind of complicated, right? So instead of doing packs, we're just going to do, you know, an NFT that this is worth 1 rail, this is worth 3 rails, this is worth 10 rails, rail NFTs. And, you know, and then we're just going to target those, whoever's holding the 3, boom, 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 boom. You get 3 each of the, you know, of the rail NFTs or whatever. But I mean, anyone can do that. Like, and Our Planet's, to your point, is proving this, right? So down the road, like 2 years from now, somebody's going to target the Genesis key holders for the Uplift with some kind of drop, right? Like some promo drop or some, you know, if they're smart, something of value. And sorry, Dwayne, you're muted right now. And you shouldn't be, because I'm sure what you're saying is interesting.
I actually was asking someone for a coffee.
Oh, shit. Well, that is interesting also. Anyway, because I do like me some coffee. So yeah, and that's just going to explode as people start to understand that you know, the hodlers of particular kinds of NFTs, like, that has meaning, whether in value proposition or community proposition. You know, that we're barely scratching the surface of that right now.
Yeah, I had an interesting call with someone that does world class. There's very few people. I don't want to identify him really, but he does world-class projections, and for like major events, big events, like millions of people have seen these projection mappings that he's done, and he's never leveraged that community of fans. He just hasn't, because he's doing it for a client, but it's art. It's original art, you know. It's this interactive experience, and like depending on the mood of the audience and the vibe, he might change the colors and like, so it's very multi-dimensional, multifaceted. And he's like, he starts out like, oh man, I want to learn about NFTs, but I don't know why. And I'm like, well, like that's, oh, I'm the right person. Like I've thought about this for a long time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and I got it. I forgot to tell you, I made my first NFTs like 5 years ago on Ethereum. I was invited from this guy in SF who ran the this Bitcoin group, was making the site called Curio Card, and I made him a long time ago. So I'm like, okay, let me fill you in. So he's like, could they be used for like commemoratives? And I'm like, well, what, like you're gonna just give this as like a keychain to someone? They're just gonna like keep it? And I'm like, look, you can use these as like engaging tools within that environment you make. So they could be used as like basically like a key to interact with the display, right? So if like they're near this display, maybe it shows a picture that they have in their wallet, or maybe it does something. It's not just like a static like it doesn't have to be just a static thing that they'll never look at again. It could be something where, hey, if they have like a membership and they come to one of your interactive events, they might be able to, put up their ad or put up something. He's like, oh, so you're saying like, on one of my displays for one of these companies, like when someone walks by and they have the NFT in their shoe, it'll like trigger an animation or something like. I'm like, exactly. It's a way to further the interaction. I mean, he came up with that. It was like, I'm like, walked him down this path. It wasn't just about like a static thing, just to like hang up behind your couch and be proud that you're wealthy enough to like afford this piece of art or whatever. So anyway, I'm a little opinionated. The NFT space right now is like, it's just in its infancy. I think people are gonna look for that engagement when they're what does this NFT do? And that's going to be preferred by those collectors.
This has almost zero connection to anything that we're talking about, but I just really want to tell the story. So my brother lives in China. My parents went to visit my brother, and there was this glass ravine walkway that was like hundreds of feet above like nothingness. And they were walking through this like, ravine on this glass walkway. And all of a sudden, apparently, my mom like just freaked out, because there was a sensor on the walkway that when you crossed the sensor, a sound went, and like there was a mapping of the glass cracking. Like, this is like the cruelest joke ever. But like what you said, right? Like I think we're working with pressure plates in the uplift as well, so that when your player moves, there are things in the uplift that can be done where you can like see or experience different things, right? Like what you said about the NFTs as well, like, right? You know what you were saying about the hat in the cards in the hat, like. I have problems when you guys are on the show because you're so freaking interesting that I get a backup of things that I want to comment on. But like, gone are the days of like, beer pong, right? Like if you're not doing NFT drinking games on VR, like you're so analog now, right? Like
buy that domain.
Yeah. But like, and like you said, right? Like you look at something like Pokemon Go, right? Which was like a huge hit for a while. It was Pokemon Go. It was a huge hit for a while, right? People walking around with their cell phones, right? We're one step away. I know Corey's, a big fan, but we're one step away from what am I thinking of that I can't remember now? The Gamers movie. Damn it, Corey, help me.
Sorry, what?
Ready Player One. We're one step away from Ready Player One, right? With like virtual reality and things like that, right? And I never actually thought about this before. You're right, like, right? An NFT like in your shoe, a barcode in your shoe that when you step across a certain, thing, then that triggers something like that could potentially be in your everyday life, right? Like, I really like that idea a lot. I just think like there's honestly. So there isn't a reason to have a lot of tokens. right now. There's a lot of tokens that exist that there is no reason for them to exist. I mean, they're less now, but back in the 2017 days, there was a token for everything, like things that weren't even on the blockchain, right? And I mean, I think as Dwayne knows, like there is really no reason to have money if you got 5 chickens, right? Like most people don't want to have 5 chickens, but I kind of feel that this is where NFTs are going to be headed, right? Like NFTs, especially with what Atomic Assets has done with being able to back NFTs with other currencies, with other crypto, like that's huge in my opinion, right? Like you could potentially transact in things like art, right? Like this kind of brings it full circle to that, like trading 5 chickens for a cow, right? Like if you have a piece of art that is backed by 1,000 EOS, for example, right? Because that's the valuation of it. And you decide you want to, you know, sell that to somebody, like you can look on the market, you can trade 5 for 1. You can do these sorts of things, right? Like, I mean, I think there's going to be a day where people are not necessarily the Mona Lisa, but people are actually trading like a piece of real estate that's embedded within, you know, the property rights of an NFT for the next, like the new age Mona Lisa. Like these things all become possible, I think, like, and I don't even think we're even close. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like, this is, I'm going to sound like an idiot here, but I wouldn't be surprised if like cryptocurrencies and speculative coins in general fade into obscurity because the use cases of NFT and DeFi are so freaking strong that it's just going to eclipse the whole market as we know it. Probably not right, but it's kind of
I think, yeah, I mean, you're totally, yeah, we're on the same page for sure. Yeah, I think even like integers, like in a wallet are so absurd. And I mean, I've heard this concept of like mass adoption and like tools for the unbanked for so long. And I'm just like so jaded by thinking that way. And like, oh yeah, crypto mass adoption is going to be in payments, man. And it's like, well, why didn't that happen the first year of Bitcoin or the 5th year or the 10th year? It's just not going to happen. Like people know how to send PayPal and like they figured that out. But now I think the mass adoption is in NFTs, and you're going to store value in your wallet and it has pictures, and you're like, this picture is this. I send this to you. You get value. You don't even need to know it. There's an intermediary value. You're like, oh, this is real or it's not real. They can see if you have it or not, and they'll want it. And it's like back to that person-person interaction. You don't, I have coffee. I need coffee. Push coffee, and then you get coffee. You know, it's not you know, you don't have to be like, I have 152,000 of these crown tokens and I can exchange it for 1.3 coffee. You know, it's like, there's this absurdity. It's so absurd.
It's almost like we're describing atomic swaps for everything, right? So you have like all of the numbers in your numbers account can just be like, it's good, tank full, right? And then, you know, never mind all the abstraction layers. It's just like, hey, do you want a coffee? And then you just, like you said, just press the coffee button. It's funny too, like all the different use cases that you guys are talking about for potential NFT use are like, and I'm really glad that the community decided to have like a little informal roadmap party on Friday for the uplift, because like we've talked about literally every single one of them, right? We're focused on, you know, the Genesis key, like the first stuff that we've minted. It's not like what use are you going to get out of it. It's how many times are you going to get use out of this. And like, I'm obsessed with it because we can target the OG community for that. Right. And one of them will eventually, you know, be, you know, if you have these NFTs, when we drop the first NFTs that give you like a 1% power up in your rewards earning in the game, well, guess who they're going to, right? Oh, well, that's an easy airdrop, right? Of all the people that were there at the beginning, and the rest of them, you'll be able to find them in world, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, and that's just one. There's going to be an NFT that if you have equipped will enable you, you know, in the future to earn from mining, to earn from building, you know, all sorts of like, there's an infinite different number of game mechanics. So, you know, that, you know, we're seeing them as wizard powers, right? And I mean, yeah, like land ownership. I mean, they're essentially a permanent lease deed that's buyable and sellable and tradable and transferable, right? Like that's kind of the whole sort of layer one of the whole thing. So yeah, and I still think for the, you know, dozens and dozens of ideas that we haven't started yet. Like it's everything we don't know is far more exciting than what we've already figured out, because the sky's literally the limit. So I just want to get to work now.
Okay,
I like. Sorry, go ahead, Max.
Oh no, good.
I like how it's going the other way, right? Like, there was a lot of. We usually reserve this stuff for Thursday, but there was a lot of interesting news the last couple of weeks, right? Like, Blockchain Heroes kind of did it with their first drop, which was pretty cool. Like, you could redeem them for real world trading cards. I thought that was an interesting kind of flip. But I think it was last week, right? Target and Walmart in the US basically released NFTs in the shop. You bought something that granted you the rights to like a QR code. I don't know how it worked. I didn't use it. I'm assuming it was a card that like you scratch off or you peel off and, you know, scratch and sniff for your phone, if that's a thing. So the NFT magically appeared in your wallet. Like that's pretty cool, right? Like we're at that point where, you know, physical things are becoming, you know, attached to these. So I don't think we're that far of a cry from, like you mentioned, real estate or art, things like this, right? Like, I mean, there's artists, street artists that are putting basically QR codes and stuff on, you know, their, what do you call it? Graffiti, right? And I mean, selling them. I mean, imagine if your graffiti was a, you know, NFT essentially. Like, not only do you have the rights to that NFT card, but you have the rights to that physical piece in the real world, right? And I mean, Corey's talked about this a lot with the uplift, right? One of the things that, you know, seems to be kind of hot in debate with the uplift world is like creative mode, right? And Corey mentioned the other day, it's like, okay, well, it's possible that the world might get forked. The world might get forked into a creative world and a non-creative world. But
I do want to drop. Sorry, Jimmy, finish with that, but I do have to drop something here because we talked to like OG Minecraft people that flat out said go survival, and anyone who doesn't want creative, make a deal with them to do it where necessary. Your partners get it, but seriously, go survival and don't split the world. So that's a longer conversation from people that actually know what they're doing. That was our original thought, was like, hey, let's just try to make everybody happy. That might not be a thing. We might, because there's so much more of a rich game experience when you actually make the economy. There's actually I went over to the community cluster leaders, and we're talking about perpetual motion machines trying to game the system. To Michael from EOS USA, fuck you. I will kill you again if I have to, because he built the first thing in there, and it's what he does, right? And I absolutely love him for this. He like creates scripts, whatever, and like just goes into systems that can be automated, and he automates them. And this is, I think, an important discussion for literally everything in our world today. So it's like the microcosm or allegory that is the uplift sort of breaks into a lot of different questions. So he makes this giant roller coaster that is awesome, right? You ride this thing, there's big jumps, it's like ridiculous, it's super fun. But 2 mornings in a row, I've woken up and there's EOS USA Michael just working away on his plot. Only he's not. He's been, his character has been riding around in this, infinite loop all night, right? And so I just like /kill because but now like I take this over to the community. Okay, we need to deal with this. There's already going to be like a cap on the amount of wax that you can earn in a day based on like if you played for like 12 to 18 hours like normally, kind of what that would look like, right? And so we're gonna cap that so that you can't just drain the rewards pool over and over again. But we do want to like create some governance around this. But then Gary, who's building the Boyd team, who should get credit for so much stuff because the Boyd build is bananas, was saying, he's actually way more worried about farms because, again, like there will be an entire economy, right? You can go to any store on any one of the rail plots that people decide to build them on, or, in the Crown City Center or in Chicago or whatever, right? And say you're a builder, you want to, build like a garden, you could buy flowers, you could buy this. In survival, you're going to need food, so you can buy food if you don't want to go farm it or whatever it is. He said he was really worried about automatic farms. And like I kind of like the automatic farms because what it means is in this market, food will effectively be free. They're going to swamp the market with food. It's not like swamping the market with diamonds, which are designed for scarcity in the game, right? Food is not designed for scarcity. So, and my initial take on this, we were just talking about it now, is like, the real world is going to get smashed by automation, right? Like soon, right? Like this is coming. where, you know, the zero sum thinking that we've sort of grown up in over the last, you know, tens of thousands of years just might not be the same anymore. And having that be an allegory in the uplift, where, you know, the really interesting thing is, do you want automated carrots from the automated carrot machine, or do you want some from Jimmy's permaculture food forest, and you want to like hike out there to get them? That becomes a much more interesting story to me. So it's you all right there, Jimmy? You okay?
Continue. I'll go later.
No, it's good. I mean, I feel like whatever was in there needs to come out.
No, so Dwayne knows this. A permaculture forest is an automated forest. It's automated to the principles of nature. This is what is like done with it, right? Like, you don't flip over the soil, you grow mycelial networks so that nutrients can jump through space and time. Essentially, it's Star Wars Under the Earth that was designed by Mother Earth herself, right? I'll leave that aside. But
the mycelial network, we could talk about that for another 10 hours, which is fun. But so I was just, because I was always trying to figure out, okay, how do you make this sort of permaculture thing in Minecraft, right? But really, maybe it's like taking the mechanics and the machinery of these sort of automated farms, but distributing it and sort of blending it visually into like a natural looking network. Because again, like, I don't know how the game mechanics work, so I don't know how sort of cute you can get with it. But it could be this thing where you walk into an area that just looks like forest, like 95% forest. There's like a little, maybe, you know, a command block walking out somewhere or whatever. But it just like, but it literally at the end of the day, you go like down a floor and boxes are just filling with food all the time.
Dwayne, I'm gonna open invitation. Corey and I, a few months ago, we flew over our lands in the Uplifters plot of land, right? And when we flew over it, it was revealed, and it was this beautiful piece of land, and we saw this like land. And I the first thing I said to Corey on the stream, if he remembers, was, "Dude, this would make an awesome food forest, right?" And Dwayne, I'm gonna give you the official invite to come and help us plan this like cool virtual Uplifters food forest, because like it would be really cool. Like, and to your point, Corey, the reason that I bring this up is a food forest, when you walk into it, you don't see the food. It's 90%, you know, nitrogen fixing trees, or all of these other, you know, trees and stuff. So like, I don't know why we're having this conversation right now, because I'm getting way too excited about it. But
that's reason enough for me. Like, I mean, if your nipples are hard, we're having a good show.
Yeah, like one Smarty hard. Well, I just see the crossover of education, right? We have people that are going to be engaged in the uplift. Then you're going to have just viewers. But if we can mix these NFTs so that eventually they have real world value. So I'd like to see that food forest. And there's two ways to go through. There's one way that you're incentivized, but you have to go through, and it sounds ridiculous to have in the same sentence permaculture, biodynamic, food forest. But one of the pathways, there's advertisers of Monsanto and Syngenta, and you see a desert, and your character, if you go the easy path to get to the real food, you die, right? So in the real world, we have deserts, and you know, we're not the simple pathway to have me be happy, and most people would be happy, and I need to be happy to be productive. I need to be happy to be on this show, is good nutrients and good inputs to our body. So that's where I see the future of this. We're talking about artists that usually are not valued, don't see any long-term residual income from all their hard effort. Well, let's talk about farmers, and I'll just keep it quick because I can talk about this forever. But there's nobody on earth supporting them. We think because I'm buying something from a farmer's market, I'm supporting them. Well, that's maybe as close as you can get. But in times like these, where we see big systems fail us, and big systems failing us can mean that there's not enough food, we should all be really passionate about knowing where it comes from and having some token or NFT to support that. So it's a little ways away from me being able to fractionalize my permaculture food farm, but I really see that the people that do have the wealth would like to share it, and how better could you share things that sharing bread, sharing food, right? So if we can build in some of these practices, even on a game level, of showing, you know, simple pathways of why this is better in the game, and how we can prosper from that game, I'm really excited to see how we can cross over to real life, how we can reward those people that are doing the right thing with the land for future generations. And not saying that the chemical farmer's a bad guy. He's just in a system that no one's supporting him, right? Mm-hmm. It's the lowest common denominator. There's just too many shitty middlemen in the middle between myself and food. And I know this firsthand. We had a food cooperative where we were growing large amounts of organic food to go directly to food manufacturers. And there were still a lot of people in between that. So I can ramble on, but yeah, bringing game mechanics and gamification and values like we're doing that slowly educate people to make better decisions and reward them. You know, if I have all these great, valuable NFTs, it'd be great to put them where my heart and my stomach are, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would sorry, I would love to see an in-game action that produces, like, let's say you do grow something in the game and then it's convertible to something you can eat in the real world. That would be like probably further down the road, but how incredible would that be? You know, and just a simple, like, simple low-hanging fruit, so to speak.
Nice.
You've been waiting for about 15 minutes on that bad boy, haven't you? Oh yeah. I love that idea. This is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about getting the sort of the MVP, the minimum viable product, out so fast, is that we cannot contain ourselves from having ideas around this. And when you listen to Ben, and you guys should sit down with Ben when he's done rebuilding our server, which we have to do now because he keeps inviting like millions of Minecrafters to come and play in the Uplift, which is kind of terrifying. Anyway, but he's talking about installing a plugin called Script that basically will allow some of these Minecrafters that are coming in now, they sort of set up their own games, right? It's always been a vision I knew was possible with Minecraft. We get groups like Crown, groups like Boyd to come in and like literally build working games so that the Uplift is like a giant cross between the Louvre and Disneyland, right? But for all of us, right? It's promoting Crown, it's promoting Wax.io, it's promoting whoever, right? And so that's the community cluster, but then the entire thing writ large. But what I'm finding out is possible is like much, much bigger than what I thought. Like I was hoping like there's like some puzzle gamification. There might be like a PvP arena kind of gamification again, where like the NFTs that you hold might be like armor and other different things or whatever. But it's John. But it's going to be intense, and Ben's going to be the guy to talk to as far as like what is possible. And he's in the community chat and the Uplift thing. So if you guys have ideas, just ping him and go, hey, like, what do you think of this? Because chances are he'll have thoughts about it. By the way, John,
I want to call John out as well because, dude, if I'm not invited to that truffle farm, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, fighting.
So, but I think this goes back full circle, what you were saying, Dwayne. And one of these days you're going to hire me and you're not going to pay me. I'm making you that promise right now. At some point, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to travel, a lot, in North America, and I'm going to come and visit your farm and I'm going to fucking plant shit. So, design it and tell me what to plant, but I, want to meet you in real life. But going back full circle to what Corey was saying earlier, which kind of set you off on your enlightenment speech. I'm a big fan of rants, but that was the furthest thing from a rant, with a similar kind of tone. But yeah, Corey, I think it's the same, right? Like this idea that North Americans in particular, the older generation in particular, I've been removed from this for a really long time. So I might be completely wrong on this, but automation is coming. This is scary. We're not going to have any jobs. I mean, my point of view.
That's funny. It's not scary.
But yeah, exactly. The
transition is like we have to get the transition right, but a bunch of hyper intelligent monkeys that can just make fingering cave paintings because everything else is nominally free. It's not a bad thing.
Well, and that's my point, is like we are squandering our gifts as what we should be as human beings. Like we should already freaking be in space. We should already be on Mars. Like there is no reason for us to still be stuck on this beautiful blue planet and essentially destroying it, right? Like we should be the things of Star Wars at this point. The only reason that we aren't, I'm going to go way too political here, is because, you know, we've been conditioned to think that we need to work a 40-hour work week and play into the system to get a job, to make money, to get shit. And it's becoming like exploding. And like, why can't people grow their own apples? Why can't people have time to sit and think about, you know, things that interest them, right? Like, I spent a week one time essentially trying to design a sea lantern in real life. It's not possible, by the way. At least not with my limited intelligence. But like, this is the thing. Like, you always refer to us as, you know, super intelligent hyper monkeys, but essentially that's what we are. But we can be more than that. We can be more than that if we have time, if we have passion, if we have the ability of community and caring, which is one of the reasons that I really like Crown a lot, is because they do put a lot of effort into their community. They do put a lot of effort into keeping people engaged. And there's, you know, good and bad and everything, but a lot of the social media that we're fed, a lot of the media that we're fed actually isn't necessarily that good. And like Dwayne said, you know, farmers, these are important people that do important work that are undervalued in society. When you have hedge fund managers that essentially do nothing and they're making billions of dollars a year. I'm not saying that hedge fund managers should be, you know, out. They do provide an important role, but there's no value incentive. You have amazing artists and musicians that go on, and hashtag this, please, American Idol, and they actually have good voices. They could actually sing. They might not be great musicians. They get what, 5% of the contract when the company gets like the other 95%, right? Like, and
they own you. Like, the American Idol is brutal. I've seen the contract for what you win, and it's like, you don't want that unless you're like ruthlessly obsessed with fame. And then you have some serious psychological problems that are just going to be really shitty for you anyway. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
And I mean, YouTube was great. Like, if you look at someone like Lindsey Sterling, if you've ever heard of Lindsey Sterling, she's an amazing violinist. She does like soundtracks for Game of Thrones, things like that. She was discovered a long time ago. She's from the Baltic. She started her own YouTube channel. She's been on stage in the US with like Snoop Dogg, like, you know, became world famous because of YouTube. I think NFTs are going to be the next generation for that. People are going to be able to put their videos out. People are going to be able to combine their art. They're going to be able to combine their music. I mean, from an artistic perspective as well, right? Like, you've got the ability to not just paint the picture, but you have the ability to paint the picture and then animate it, right? You have the ability to do all of these things. So I don't know if anyone's ever seen me excited on this show before, but so I'm going to keep quiet now.
But also if there's people watching and go, well, that's good for you guys. You got time. It seems like you're creative. You have these avenues. You got, you know, what, I don't have those things, right? Well, I just want to bring it full circle to a DAC, right? You're talking about Michael and automation and those type of things. Well, we can combat that with a community and consensus, and anyone can be involved, right? So you're going to see all these different users say, come to the uplift, the guys that are, you know, ready in Minecraft that can develop, the guys that can gamify, and then there's just going to be viewers and some people that are somewhat interested. You know, we can collectively also combat, you know, all this automation with community, right? And there's a place for everybody. And if you have a little bit of time and willing to learn, and, you know, there's a spot for you. And I think this might be a perfect time. I'm not sure how we can do this, but we should we have a bunch of, you know, rewards that we should be able to give out online from Crown, and we have a little kind group in Alien Worlds too called the Kinder Miners. I'm not sure if we can put up a QR code, but we should really reward the people that took some time out today to watch your show, and yeah, reward them.
Yeah, I've been dropping some in YouTube. So those lucky YouTubers, I think I gave away like 10 already. We'll see. Yeah, I on some of them you're gonna have to type in the full address, and most of you already know what that address is. So
I think this is hilarious because I'm looking at this screen, which is kind of funny, and like, you got Corey and and Max on the left, and like they're always busy in front of their computers dropping other people NFTs, and then you got me and Dwayne on the right, like, and we're just like sitting here like getting lost in like weird random thoughts. Like
it's not even random though. Like and because I
that's a good mix. I like it. It's a carbon copy.
it's good stuff. I think that entire conversation and it's the Kismet is fun because it's literally cropping up in the community channel and here at the same time, right? This discussion around automation, around the things that we need versus the heights that we might be able to attain, especially if we're supporting each other as a community. I mean that's the whole thing, right? It was not my intention initially to have the uplift just be an allegory and microcosm for all of the universe as a metaverse, but it's that. I mean, anywhere where you get a group of really creative people, you're probably going to see something like that. But I guess I appreciate any time that we can spend stepping back and looking at it through that lens, because I have a suspicion that it will make everything that we do after that, keeping that in our considerations, a lot more interesting, right? And because this world's never going away, we're going to be writing our history and our tribe's evolution into it. So the more present and thoughtful we can be about this kind of thing, the better that history is going to be. Show over.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding.
Well,
we don't have to go anywhere.
Bam.
Yeah, we don't have to go anywhere. I've got time, and I think Corey doesn't have another show today. So,
I think I have a meeting, but not for another 15 minutes.
Nice. So I don't know if we did this or not, but so on Friday we're gonna do a really strange, bizarre show. Like we're kind of gonna have a show with like a lot of guests, like tons of guests, and I would like you guys to like join. You might not get a chance to speak. I might not get a chance to speak, which is going to be amazing. Like we could make a drinking game out of it. If I don't speak, everyone takes a drink. It's not a very, very good game. But like, but no, like seriously, like I if you guys can come, I know it's early for you, but get up and come. I think we're gonna have Anders. Hopefully Ken will show up. I know it's early for him as well. And Blue's gonna come. Greg's gonna come, which is our Uplift tour guide. And we're gonna do that kind of as a pre-launch party, I guess, Corey, like to what's going on with the Uplift, and we're just gonna have fun, I think. But I think you guys deserve to be there. If Corey thinks otherwise, then I'll give my space to one of you, and you can wrestle to the death to see who gets it, and I just won't come. So. I don't know how we're going to distribute the links, but we'll have to be a little bit more on the ball than last minute, Corey, I think, for that one.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I guess that the crown, so you got 15 minutes, so that's good.
Let's call it 10, but yes. Yeah.
So maybe we should end with the crown Dakathon. If you guys could give us it's just really anticlimactic after that. It sounds bad, but I'm serious. It's kind of anticlimactic after that great conversation. But so the Dakathon, I mean, maybe we'll get some of these ideas in the Dakathon. But when is the Dakathon happening, and what's the schedule? Because we haven't really got to that yet. So if you guys could give us a quick rundown on that. I know that we're probably going to be having some guests on to give some presentations on this show, I think.
Yeah, you bet.
So we're kind of excited about that. But if you could let the community know what's going on, because some of the ones that might not be in the Crown community every day might not know. So
it's the Dakathon is kicking off next week with your show, 6 a.m. So that's Thursday the 11th, and I'm looking at, looks like, yeah, we've got you guys scheduled to kind of kick off the Dakathon with your show every day. So that looks exciting. So it's the 11th, and we're running for, well, it's two sections. There's a lot of different talks scheduled from 6 a.m. till about 2 p.m. every day. And then at the end of it, there's a hackathon. But we're actually going for about 2 weeks here. We are piggybacking on a lot of shows like yours. So we have a lot of Alien Worlds talks scheduled. The hackathon itself starts. So the whole event starts next Thursday, the 11th. And then the welcome to the hackathon is the following week on Friday, the 19th. And you can find, we'll put up the whole schedule on a Telegram channel on Crown and Metadac. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I saw the schedule. It's pretty full on. Like there's something going on somewhere at almost every point, every hour throughout the day, right? Like there's some really cool stuff happening. So yeah, our guests, so people who watch our show, we're not going to do our normal, media moguls and NFT game day for that week or two. We're going to kind of take a hiatus. It'll be a little bit different, but we still hope that you join and come and hang out with us, because we're going to have super cool people like Max and Dwayne that join us.
And
well, that's all she wrote.
Later, yeah, no, just to add on to what he's saying, yeah, the hackathon portion, the previous times it was like, what can we add to that theme? It was kind of like we had the theme, so this theme's gaming, and we'll kind of make up the rules as we go, because it's a more equitable way to engage as a conference. Oh, there he's back. Yeah, I was just giving the rundown on the hackathon. So yeah, the previous one was last theme was DeFi, and the theme before that what was the first theme? Did we have a theme the first time? It was the first hackathon. So essentially we're going to be having some type of theme that we'll try to reward for anyone who engages with that theme, essentially. So it's kind of open-ended. If you do something with gaming and DAX or some type of community stuff, it doesn't have to necessarily perfectly fit in, but somewhere towards that, the feeling that's what, that's what will happen. So yeah, you guys should come. Everyone should come. Who's watching this, come hang out at the DACthon. Lots of great content.
Our submission is the uplift world in Minecraft, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Perfect. Some of the themes or the focus was games, governance, creating NFTs, new DAX, community, and then the hackathon. And out of any DACathon, I can see if you participate and sign up for the DACathon, this is going to be perverse incentives from multiple communities. So you will be getting an NFT badge as a participant. And if I see some of the groups that have already committed to talk and throw in a whole bunch of rewards into the reward bucket, this will be quite exciting. In the last DACathons, people got a MetaDAC token, which allowed you to vote, had some value, but this is NFT mania. You're going to be seeing, I can speak for ourselves, Crown, Kinder Miners, CSX, but we've got a whole big spot for Alien Worlds. There's a lot going on there. The Uplift, we've got. And don't think this is for people that need to be putting in something into the hackathon. We have making NFT workshop days. We have, so if you're just new to the space, by all means, you're gonna find it rewarding. It is a huge schedule, so pick what you like. Obviously, to try and do all this, I'm going to try. There is also, there's a hippie dance party. There's fun stuff. Check out the schedule. It's going to rock.
Yeah. And I know you got to take off, guys, pretty soon, but just to add, definitely vote for us on Alien Worlds. I know elections are going to come in the next month sometime. vote for Max, vote for Dwayne. We'll have parties. No taxes. Okay, wait. Low taxes. We'll hook you up. We're awesome. Just vote for us.
Corey, what's our standpoint on voting for someone other than your cabal?
I don't tell the cabal this. While they were my first gang ever, I have been known to support other gangs. So
it's just, you can vote for, I think it'll be voting for individuals. It might not, you can vote for multiple people. It's not either or.
Well, and what banner do you guys?
I'm just taking the piss. I apologize.
Oh yeah, no, because he knows I've been cheating on the cabal. Sorry, guys, love you. Just not as much as I love everyone. Anyway, so it's good. I'm excited. I feel like one of the largest holes in my knowledge game is about DACs and how they work and that kind of governance. Watching the community cluster nerd all the fucking way out yesterday about some potential governance questions and self-governing the community cluster, which again, like our stance, like the Uplift stance is anything that doesn't impact global game mechanics. We want that to be in the hands of the community clusters as quickly as possible in as a meaningful a way as humanly possible, right? So, and I know there's going to be a lot of things that come up, over time. So, we're just really excited about how that's going to evolve.
Yeah, so are we. Super exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. All right, I gotta roll. I gotta do a little rinse reset and get ready for this next meeting.
Well, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Great hanging out, guys. You guys are awesome.
No,
thanks so much.
Well, we're gonna leave the show, but feel free to stay. Corey's got a jet, but I can talk some more. So I think today we're gonna have to go with the backwards inward chop